Hello everyone, welcome to iTeLearn. This is Karthik. Let's look at Java as a programming language today. We're going to take some baby steps into it. It's more of a demo session. The whole intent is to get you inducted towards Java, and we will also try and open up a program, play around a little. Before I get started with the session, a couple of quick polls I would love each of you to participate in, please. It will help us understand who the audience is and accordingly be able to go forward. So team, on your screen, you will see the options. So you can choose by clicking on your screen. Team, let me take another 10 seconds and close this poll. I'll move on. Can I have everyone participate, please? I've just got very few percentage of you. Quick poll, quick small question, a few responses. Please choose what's applicable for you all. Okay, I'm going to close the poll now. Another 5 seconds. Nice. 100% of votes. Thank you so much, all of you. So most of you are working in IT. So this is not a new field for you, and that's good, which means that the basics of computers or how IT organizations or teams work is something you're aware of. Great. A couple more polls, team, before we move forward. Just trying to understand which region are you from? All right, I'll close the poll in next 5 seconds, team. Almost 90% of you have voted in. All right, great, thank you. So here's the results. 83% of you are from the US Canadian region, 17% of you are in the Indian subcontinents. Okay, great, thank you for that, team. I've got one more here. This is more of, are you a member of iTeLearn or not, is the question. Great. I'm gonna, okay, 100% in. So most of you are members, team. That's great. So look forward to ensuring that we continue on these trainings. All right, last one, and then we're good. All right, great. 100% votes in. Thank you so much. Here are the results, team, on your screen. So 50% of you are pretty new to it. 14% maybe. I'm glad that 29% of you have decent knowledge in Java. Great, team. So let's get started. Let's try and understand what Java is and how we go about. Now, a lot of things will come into play at the time. I'm going to quickly see if the polls are still okay. Now it should be my screen. Audience view. All right. So team, there are few things I'm going to omit. History of Java and features of Java for now. Typically, that's where we start, but pretty boring team. Just what you need to know, it's been there for decades, at least 2+, and it's got a global user base. Yes, it is open source and still has a large market share. So plenty of jobs, lot of competition. That is how it is, team. Now, then why learn Java if we know that there's so much competition in it? Because Java is a programming base. All right. One of the first programming languages that came up with the OOPS concept, that is the object oriented programming system. Now, when Java started to get into the markets very early in 90s team, at that time there were a few competitors. What it tried to do is create programs that can run on any device, and that kind of gave it its edge to begin with. Now, when it comes to a career in Java, when I was saying that Java is a programming base, any IT developer would be able to switch technologies, not with ease. I'm not saying that it's going to be ease, as the fundamental concepts are same. So what it means is, when you talk about what all come within Java, the main core things, team, core Java is all about, you start with your packages, projects, we go into, what is it talking about? Yes, data variables and how we do memory allocation. We talk about conditional statements. We talk about loops. We will talk about how we create functions, methods, and we will talk a lot about OOPS, how we create classes, objects, and give methods to it. This primarily becomes your overall programming team. And now you take any programming language in general, you will notice that these are the common things that come across. Now that I know the audience as well, the way I want to proceed is quickly get into understanding how we can start coding team. Now, to code in Java, there are a few things. Code is to write something, right? And the best place to do it will become your IDE eventually. We can also do it in a notepad, but there are certain reasons why you'll notice it is better to do it in an IDE. We'll learn about that now. IDE is primarily an integrated development environment. It's almost like a one-stop shop where you have all the luxury of coding, maintaining, building, assistance, debugging, plenty of features that make it very powerful. We will be working on Eclipse IDE. There are other open source IDEs as well, but this is what I will be using in the session team, and I will show you how to download and start installing it. You also have to download Java JDK files and a few things. The installation instructions are there in a simple video at iTeLearn. We will share that with you, team. Now, the reason I'm taking Eclipse, one, it is open source. It is feature rich. It's got plenty of features to support great development. And again, very large user base. See, this large user base is a very key thing, team. It just talks about the stability of those products across regions, geography, and over a period of time. So that becomes critical. Um, Now, I'm not sure how many of you have ever worked on an IDE, but let's go take a quick look at how we do it. So team, you download Java, just letting you know very quickly, you'll find it everything from oracle.com. Just say Java download. That's all you need to search for. It'll divert you to the Oracle website, and you could download your regular Java and then your JDK. So once all those things will send you as a document. Assume that Java is downloaded, and then next comes your Eclipse. You install Java. Now you go to the Eclipse. Eclipse.org is the website where this open source platform is really getting its wings team. So looks like Photon is the latest one. I'm gonna download the same and keep it handy for the next session as well, at least. It's a pretty straightforward installation team. Should not take long, should not be complex at all. So Eclipse and Java on the system, then we go about launching up this IDE. Team, quick question. I think I'll have to wait for, let me pause this. My audio was going for a toss. Quick question, am I going too fast? Because what I covered here is just the intro to it, and now we are like getting into more of working on Java. Can you give me a quick feedback, please? And I see all of you are attentive. We have this feature in GoToWebinar, so that's really good. I'm looking at the chat team. Okay, cool. So great. Now let's launch Eclipse team. Why is it taking so long to launch? Okay, it's loading up. All right. I have Eclipse Oxygen. Team, as we go along, I'll keep talking to you a lot about coding in general and what you need to be doing to start really becoming a good developer. You got to enjoy sitting with the team. The toughest challenges that you'll get while programming is that things will start breaking. You'll write a program, it may not run the way you want, and it could be frustrating a lot of times. But believe me, the pleasure once you write the program correct and execute it, you'll really feel glad. So it will be pretty exciting as you go along. Some examples may be very boring and simple, some may be complex that we take through our learning. Now, though it could be very boring and simple, there are certain reasons why I take examples, so we can play around a lot with understanding the tool. All right, so team, here is Eclipse. This is opened up by default as soon as I launched it. This is your welcome screen. So once you launch Eclipse, you could just skip welcome and just straightforward go to the project section. Now, these are some old codes team that I was doing in the previous sessions. We're going to do something very similar today as well. The first thing, team, that you need to really focus on, let me close this so that you're not looking at it too much. Close this. Okay, there you go. One second. All right, sorry. So team, this is the UI. When I say UI, the user interface. So you will be looking at this Eclipse platform all through this training. This is what you're going to be focusing on. So if it scares you at the beginning with a lot of things in here, do not worry. We're going to take plenty of time to get used to it. As we go along, I'll keep introducing new areas for it. The first and foremost thing is your package explorer, which is typically on the left side. Do note that it comes with default views or perspectives, what we call, and sometimes we can change this view. So if it's not seen here, then I will show you from where you can re-get this. It's very easy to minimize. These are like widgets, team. All right, you can play around with them a lot. Most importantly, there is a menu bar up here. Everything as a feature is there in the menu bar, team, in your Eclipse IDE. The second is you have some quick access links. So some things you regularly use as developers, you could customize it as well. Your package explorer is on the left side. Your code, your main code is on the right side out here. All right. The thing that you see below is pretty much as the tests run and so on, you'll start seeing feedbacks coming here, like error reports or console displays and so on. So this is your Eclipse platform. We will start to do Java coding out here. I'm going to quickly erase this. And let's go to it. So team, the first thing you need to understand is the structure in which it is there. Very simple highlighted thing. There is a package or a project that we create in Java, and then we add Java classes to it. Every Java program ends with the extension .java. All right. And there are few as a class, but then your .java is your main program team. So once we are in Eclipse, go to File on top. Let's go to New and select a Java project. All right. Once we select a Java project, it kind of prompts you with a few options. A lot of them keep everything as default. Do not worry too much. I'm going to change this to, this is August Java training, and click on finish actually. So let's say next. All done. I don't even have to say next team, so just say finish. So just give it a name and finish. Now do note that the naming convention is very strong. One of the first things you have to remember, team, and ensure you note it, is Java is hypercase sensitive. And as a general advice, we should be case sensitive irrespective of the programming language we work on. The reason is it is a style of programming, team. It's a personality. You got to use a certain character. When we document everything, you will notice that how much emphasis we give to documentation. So all these notes that I'm writing, team, on the side are very important. Comments and documentation is very critical. Okay, give lot of emphasis to aesthetics. What is aesthetics, team? The look. Your code must look good. I mean, your code should work only then, right? The first level is your code should work, but beyond that is your code must look really good. And I'll talk about what I mean. Now, I've got 3 projects out here, team, and the one we created is org Java training. Did you notice the how I named it? What is this name? This kind of naming convention, team? The convention where the first letter of second word onwards, is an uppercase. This is called, anyone? Camel writing, camel case, yes. It's called camel case. All right, team. Now there are a lot of ways people use even underscores, org underscore, Java underscore training. It is your convention, your style of doing. So as we go along, you will notice how we name programs, how do we name variables, and everything else. Everything should look very logical and sensible. It should almost look like a short story team. Now, once I've created my project, let me expand this and you'll see a regular JRE, Java Runtime Environment System Library. In this, there'll be a bunch of files and you've got nothing to do with it. It is more like the backend engine of Java. Java, by basic proportion, if you look at team, is a core programming language. But then a lot of contributors came for Java across the globe and said, you know what, I will do something in this, I will contribute here, let me create something that can work with Java. And slowly there are a lot of reusable archives created, and those jar files are globally distributed in this open source community, and that makes Java even more powerful. So a lot of times I don't need to code everything from scratch. There are these frameworks and connectors that we will look at called .jars, which will help us do that. Okay. Now, but for our perspective, what you see there, team, JR system library, just ignore it, keep it minimized. So simple maximize, minimize of your tree. The most important one, team, here is your source, SRC, all right, within which is where we will put your Java programs. Now, there are different names and things that people can do. Stick with simple things for the first 1 week to 2 weeks, then it will become easy for you to play around more. So I'm going to right click this. Oops, what happened? See, something came up. I didn't do it right. Right click, new Java class. Now within this, what we're creating is a Java class team, and that is where everything starts from. Let's call it my first program. See, notice that Eclipse gives you a lot of feedback team. An exclamation is typically like a warning. A red cross is no, no, you cannot. Warnings are fine. You still pass out, you'll still do it, but generally not recommended. Let's see what are the same. Type name is discouraged. We convention Java type names usually start with an uppercase letter. See, they want our Java type names to start with an uppercase letter. Sure, why not? Let's follow the pattern. My first program. Is it okay to have a number in between? Maybe. Didn't get anything. See, that's nice. Do not do anything else here, team. Just one checkbox, public static void main, and that's it. We'll say finish. Now, what it has basically created is very simple, team. It has taken a package automatically based on the name of the project. It is like a subfolder, and it has created this structure. Now let me see how I find where it is in my system. See, this is where it is. Users admin July Java training. What is Java training? That is where it is, the location. Show in the system explorer. Cool. See, all these simple features that come inbuilt with Eclipse as a platform team makes everything easy for us. And what I'm trying to show you is how it has organized itself. So it is the basic fundamental focus is to keep things very, very organized. Coding must be highly organized. See, if you're working on building just a program of 1,000, 2,000 lines of code, it's pretty simple. But as you build applications, it goes tens of thousands of lines of code. And you'll be working in a large teams, groups, distributed a lot of times. So how we do that systematic development process with a lot of focus in today's world on build in a continuous, integrated and continuous delivery fashion, and how DevOps is coming into picture. So these things, team, are very critical for you to also get exposed to as you keep getting into the program. All right, any questions so far? I was just trying to showcase how and where things are. We will create another project quickly. It's going to be easy for us to play with it. Now, basically what this says, let us try and read the code, team. For mastering programming, here are my 4 steps, team, that you need to do. First, learn to read the code. Right, a lot of times we get into a hurry and we start writing code or looking at very larger ones. Do not do that, team. Look at a code and just read and understand. A lot of English words will be there. We will try and make sense out of it. So I will teach you how to start reading the code very soon. Sorry. Second is make small changes to existing code. Very small, subtle changes. So you're playing around, you're experimenting. As you go, but your comfort will increase. It is almost like running a bicycle, team. The only thing is you will not get physical injuries in this. But the thing is, we will fail a lot of times as we write programs. 3, write small programs. 4, repeat with increasing complexity. And team, there's no way, no other way that I can say it, but the fact that hands-on is key. So spend as much time as you can on Eclipse. You'll be comfortable. You give a gap of even 2 years, you can quickly take a day or two and get back to Eclipse and these platforms, team. So any questions so far before I go forward now? All right, cool. So let's play around with this program a little bit, team. Not too much. And let's try and read this. One of the beautiful things that I see from Eclipse is line numbers. So on the left side, you have line numbers. You can right click here and you can go to preferences, I believe, and you'll see colors and fonts. What I typically do is this is the first thing I change because if it's bigger font, you all can see it easily on your system. So I'm going to put it at 20 and say, okay, apply and choose. So you have the ability to do a few things. You want to not to have line numbers, you could. You want to bring them back, you could. A lot of flexibility, team. Do not try and see, right click and see what is everything. Over a period of 1 week to 2 weeks, you'll slowly start seeing at least 70% of them. Okay, all the features I'm talking about now. The second thing you'll notice, team, is there is a difference in color. I wish it was darker color, but hope you can notice. Look at this package, it's a little purplish color, and here black, and then green, blue, green. So there seem to be variations in color. The main idea is they represent certain things, team. They represent certain things. Now, for you to understand what is the structure, very simple. First, this is the package under which my program is there. Like what? Simple folder. Now, remember I spoke about documentation and the importance of writing comments. The first thing you must learn in Java, there are 2 types of code. Okay, executable code will get executed. That's what it means. Non-executable code Java ignores them, and two of them for sure. One is comments, second is blank lines. If there's a blank line, it says, okay, I've got nothing to do with it, I'll move on to the next one. Java basically goes through this one line at a time as it compiles the program. The few terminologies that I don't want to throw as jargons right away, we'll get to them. It goes line by line and executes. So this and this have no significant difference. Then why should I create a program of 11, 12 lines when I could have done it in 6 lines? Remember, I spoke about aesthetics, the importance of the look and feel. That's the main reason. Now, in Java, comments start with 2 slashes. So any word or any text, code, words after your slashes are treated as comments. And team, a lot of times it may look very simple, but you may know what a comment is. Maybe a lot of you already know that I know this is comment, simple. But why do we use comments? How do we use comments? Very, very critical, team. It shows your style of programming. Now, for example, I want to write a comment here just for my reference. I'm going to put it right here after my semicolon and say, under my subfolder. So just a note to myself, I'm beginning, right? I want to make sure that I kind of understand and put everything together. Now, what is this public class, my first program? Before I talk about that, team, most important things, two most important things in Java are this. A block of code in Java is separated by curl braces, team. So an open curl brace at the beginning, a block of code, and then a closed curl bracket. So this becomes one block of code. Within one block of code, there can be again multiple blocks of code. But anything within this curl braces is treated as a block of code. Now, in this program, if you notice, there are 4 open and closed, right? I mean, 2 of them. Now, for this open curl bracket, where is the closed one? There is always a corresponding one. Okay. If you notice on line 10, there is a small highlight on that. It is an indication that, okay, this is the beginning of this block. This is the end of this block. Now, if I took my cursor there, it is pointing on line number 3 to the end. That, okay, the corresponding opening of the block is here. Same out here. See, it is pointing out here. Now I go here, it's taking it there. These two are associated with each other. All right. Now, what is line 16? Can anyone tell me? What is line 6? I'll come back to line 3, but what is line 6? This one. All of you, take a second, please. Tim, can you put it in the chat? What do we call line 6 as? Thank you. All the responses that I got, you're all right. But this is a comment. Why? It starts with 2 slashes. That's it. Simple. And a comment, if you look at it, becomes green, team. So neat. Very easy to structure and understand. Now, this comment is not from my side. It was system generated. I don't need it. I'm going to delete it. All right. Now, this is the basic theme. This is the basic code structure that you will see. Sometimes you don't even have packages. It starts with every Java program. Now, what is the name of my Java program? Can someone tell me? What is the name of my Java program? My first program. Perfect, team. And see, um, you're all correct, but you're wrong in your answer because you didn't use the uppercase and lowercase the way it is. So in a programming perspective theme, it's mandatory. We need to write, if it is M is uppercase, M is uppercase. Otherwise, there's no way it will work. Let me show you an example. If I change this to lower M, all right, it will immediately give you a prompt saying there's something wrong. How does it give us the feedback? By showing this red underline and this cross out here saying that this line has a problem, you need to fix it. Why? From Java's perspective, this what you see on the left and this what you see on the right is totally different. It's got no comparison. They have to be the same. My first program.java, that is my program name, it has to be exactly the same at both the sides. That is how strong it is case sensitive. Now, public static void, public class, these words, just put them on the side burner for now. Just remember that every Java program must have a main method. So core logic is written in that. Now, I'm going to put a comment here. Very easy. Okay, my first program. And then introduce you to one quick learning team. Lot of times what we do in a program as it running, right, we want to see feedback as and when, and for that we use some statements called as print statements. These print statements do not actually go and do it on a printer, but they print out everything on the console team. All right, so as I introduce you to a few basic things and then we'll go to something else more interesting. Let me talk about that. First, how do we print something in the console? System dot out dot print ln. Now, if you notice, team, it is giving me, prompting me with a lot of options already. All right, I want you to try and do more of typing than using your mouse. That is a sure short way that your programming will improve. If you do not do the typing, you will not even remember it. So the only thing in Eclipse that I ask you not to do is use very little mouse and suggestions in Eclipse. Type more code. Are we all good, team? Audio, everything? All right, so now what is it that this one specific statement is going to do? I don't need line 8, I'll just remove it. But see, team, the aesthetics may look a little disturbed, so as we keep writing our code, very critical to make sure that we're organizing it also nicely. It should be very easy on the eyes, team. When we talk about code aesthetics, code must be easy on the eyes. So just we're not trying to write this to create more number of lines, just that it is easy. We divide them. Now, what do I write here? I can write anything. Welcome, iTeLearn. Now, when I run this program, So what did we do so far, team? We wrote a simple Java code, then we save the program and run the program. Run is basically the main thing in your entire programming structure, team. So whatever you write, you got to be running them. So first let us save this. Do you see the save icon here, team? So you can click on it. Once I've saved it, I'm going to go to this green icon here. This green icon is your main run. There are other icons like debug and so on. We will come to it as we keep going along. But let's stay with the regular run for now. As soon as I do the run, you will notice that the code is executed. How do I even know that it is done? The only way is I saw the statement getting printed here. See, it took a pretty quick action, and as soon as it executed, it put it here. Now, I want to write one more. See, team, I'm taking that effort of typing everything. I want you all to also not lazy on that and do the typing. All right, so now every time I'm still teaching you a little bit about Eclipse to Java, how they communicate. There are three parties in a team if you look at it always. Always remember the three parties. There is the Java, like the syntax and so on. There is Eclipse, where we do the entire execution. And there is us, the developer, right? So between these three, there's a lot of interaction happening. And the feedback system is very critical. In Java, in Eclipse, one of the beautiful things is anytime you write a code that is wrong, it will give you this red mark. Now, the further beauty of it, not only does it show you that there is an issue here, it will also sometimes give you suggestion that this could be the possible reason. Now, did you notice why, or could anyone tell me why this is coming, team? Why do you think there is an error on line 9? So that's the next one. Everything, every statement must end with semicolon, and that is a very, very fundamental thing. Now, once we know these basics, it is very easy for us to keep going to understand and learn more and more. Now, we have created one simple one out here, correct? Why don't we repeat this, team, and do this entire thing again, but with something else? So it will be further learning first. I'm going to go to new Java project. Let's call this something simple. Teams, a lot of times I use math as a platform to teach as well. It is the reason I said some simple, some complex exercises. Simple math one will help us to learn numbers and variables primarily. Very critical to learn variables rightly in Java team. Math project finish. So see, I've created a simple math project. Now I go to source, right click, new Java class, and public static void main. I will not put package this time, team. I'm going to keep it even more simpler. What source folder is there? Why is it giving me this already? Okay. Add me. Public static void main, add me, finish. So very simple, small looking program. Delete this. See, nothing else. No package, nothing. Now let's talk about something that is very, very critical to any programming language team. Programming language is all about handling data, all right, or information. That's it. This is the only two things it wants to do. It's data Data is nothing but information. So every time it has to do this, the first and foremost things is you require storage for data, and then you require access to it. Like what you want to read, write, view only, what kind of an access. The storage for data is very critical. Why? Applications, there are applications are built using what in programming tools, right? Performance is critical, like speed, efficiency, and so on, right? Apps have to be faster. That is the whole thing. Now, okay, so bad program could be doing the work, but may be very inefficient. It's like, a very old air conditioner. It still works, it cools, but you're paying heavy amount of bill because it's got no, um, controls of making it efficient, right? Now, and that is the big reason why all most critical part is to store data in an extremely smart way. So what Java did is for its data variables, sorry team, one second. It created its own data variables and said very strict about it. So you will notice that if there are a little challenges, it is to understand these variables very correctly. Let's look at a few of them. What are variables? Very simple team. Let me talk about variables using a diagram. Think of variable as a simple memory holder. Like for example, is that highlighter pen working? No, it's not working here. Let me try. It should be doing somewhere. Okay, there. Think of this box as a memory holder of what, let us assume, your friend's phone number, okay? So what would you put in your phone contact list? You would have a name, right? And you would have a number for it, for him or her. Now, in the same fashion, Java stores information within its program using something called as variables. A variable has a name and it will have a value. So to store data, Java uses variables. That's as simple as that is. Now, let's go here and look at creating a few variables. What is a variable? Very simple. First, I want to write about this program. Okay, purpose and to numbers. See, at the very beginning, when I write this kind of a comment, right? Let us say anytime in future, I need to go back and look at any of these programs. It is easy for us to look at them and understand what we have done, how we have done. All right. Now, how do I get to numbers? Where do I put it? And that is where we create variables. Let us talk about the most common variables that we have to, and that's an integer. An integer is non-decimal number. So it's got no decimal points. It's got positive, negative. It's got no decimal points. That's primarily what it is. Now, what can be an integer? If I say, let us assume a variable to be called as a, all right, and equals a value 10, we learned semicolon. This basically means to say that I want to put the number 10 and store it into a. This is called initialization or loading the variable. All right. Now, before I can actually initialize, the rule for Java is you need to declare the variable. Without declaration, you cannot initialize. So how I declare is I say int for short for integer and the name of the variable semicolon. And here my variable is declared. Now, as your code is still small, team, try and look at any kind of thing that you notice around the code which attracts you. For example, do you see this warning symbol here? Why do you think it's coming up? It is saying you created a variable, you put value into it, but you never used it in the program. See, look at it cautiously. The value of the local variable is not used. A is not used. Why should it bother? Its whole point is to ensure that memory management is at the top so that the programs will run very fast. All right. Now, there are multiple ways of declaring and initializing variables, at least 2, 3. But the best way to do it is declare it in one line and initialize it in another line. Let us create one more variable, integer b, but in a different style. I will say integer b equals 10 right here. So what I did here is declared and initialized together. So you'll notice that within Java there are many shortcuts, and it is important and imperative for you to keep noting them down. Okay. Now this is a shorter code than this. Both work, both do the same thing. It's just a style of programming for some. Now I will say this another integer called c, and basically my whole intent is I will say c equals a plus b, and let's say I put this as 18. Now when I run this program, what will happen, team? So first let me save this. Any errors? No. This is one warning here. Let's ignore the warnings because I want to show you something. What happened, team? What do you think just happened? We'll be done in another 2 minutes, team, and we'll connect again in the next session. Ran. It did run, yeah. But then what happened? See, unless you put some print statements, you would not know the output, team. Either use print statements or your Java program is directly interacting with a web service or a database and updating it there, or in XML or exporting something. So if you have to get the information, out, then you use that system.out.println. And let me also explain what that means, team. It has 3 words. Now there is a shortcut for this entire system.out.println. Write sysO and do control space, and it will kind of take that whole thing. Now the way I want to write is total is C. All right, I'm assuming that it will come up for me. See, when I gave a statement saying total is C, it just printed out the same thing, not the value of C. Why? We know that if the addition would have done simple addition, it should have 28. In the next session, team, we'll do debug, go line by line and see how these variables are created and how the memory is getting assigned to it. Now, always remember team, anything in double quotes is a string. Java treats it as is, it will not disturb it. So if you put a variable name inside or try and do something inside this, it wouldn't. So then what do we do? You get it outside. How? Simple appending team. So there are simple things like plus and ampersands that you can use and put the values like this. So now what did we do with our program? Let's take a quick look team. First, I declared a variable called a and put a value of 10 in it. Then I declared and initialized a variable called b with 18 in it. I just declared an integer c and added a and b, put the value there. And I'm saying total is c. So when we run this program, I should be expecting it to give me the value, and that is how it is. This is one of the most simplest building blocks team. In the next class, we'll take this further and make some larger programs. Any questions, please? You're right, Radhika. We did not put the print statement, so nowhere we're going to get that. Any questions, please? See, and we can make it even more interesting. First number, and then I'll say, team, I'll be ending the session in the next 1 minute. If you have questions, now is a good time. Second number, and see, very easy for us to make mistakes team. So make sure that you look at the code very carefully. Otherwise, when you get errors, you go and fix it. That's not a problem. The first number is 10, second number 18, total is 28. So team, very beginning class, I'm sure it would have been okay. I hope it was not too fast for anyone. And I'm not sure when is the next schedule, but I'll have the team follow up and inform you please on that. There's one question coming from Adil. Back to the beginning, you created project in the class. That's correct. What was the question about it, Adil? So we created a couple of them. My first Java project. Oh no, this is a different one. I think these two are the ones. Back to the beginning, you created a project in the class. That's correct. Exactly. What I did, new Java project XYZ, finish. In this project, right click and you can just say new, create a Java class. Let's say ABC main and done. Now this is your program. We can start playing around with it. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. We'll see you back in the next session. Take care. Bye now. Bye all.